Here's the second one, information. But when we think about information, we can think about all the basic stuff, right? Why, how, who, when. But let's step back and dig just a little bit deeper, right? That's amateur stuff. You and I are coaching to pro level stuff here, okay? What we're talking about is information. Here's what that means. Everybody has a really good reason for everything they do. Let's qualify good. Good could simply mean it was the best option that they felt they had at that moment in time. Fair? One of the concepts that we're going to be coaching to, a theme almost, if you will, that's going to come up again and again in our conversation is the idea that says people do things for their reasons, not necessarily the right reasons. And you know, the more information that you have, the better you can understand what's actually going on. As they start to explain, you can actually begin to recognize what their motivation is. Here's kind of a silly example. I have a big old truck that I drive, right? It's a Ford Excursion. For those of you that know me, I have a fairly large family, 6 kids. It's a diesel. And I drive this truck everywhere I go. But here's the thing. There's only a couple of gas stations in the area of the world that I live. I'm in St. Louis, Missouri. There's only a couple of gas stations by my house that actually sell diesel fuel. And the one that I go to is actually the one furthest away from my house. How come? When we talk about this idea of getting information to figure out what's really going on, that particular gas station happens to sell a brand of hot chocolate that my 12-year-old daughter really likes. That's it. It's not because the fuel's any cheaper. It's not because the people are any nicer. The facility is pretty much the exact same from one gas station to another. But I'm going to the one that's furthest away from my house because they happen to have a brand of hot chocolate that my daughter enjoys. Now, here's where it gets a little crazy. Ask me, Bob, how often does your daughter ride with you when you need to go fill up the truck? Maybe once or twice a month. But the fact that she likes that place makes me like that place. Everybody has their own unique reasons. And by the way, they only have to make sense to them. That scenario that I just told you about, you might be sitting there thinking, Bob, that's crazy. That's the dumbest thing I ever heard. That's okay. These are my reasons. Think about some of the choices that you make. Before we go a whole lot further, think about some of the choices that you make that if you explain those reasons to somebody else, they might look at you like you were crazy. Can you relate to this? All right, so here's hidden power number 3, listening. We've all heard that idea that we should talk less and listen more. That's kind of hard to do, isn't it? Particularly in the beginning of a conversation. See, when you want to listen more, here's a great way to do it. Ask a question. Initially, it's our job to get information, not give it. In some of the other coaching programs, we talk about this conversation model that says 80-20. We want to do 20% of the talking, and we want to let our prospect do 80% of the talking. One of the things that separates amateurs from professionals is the ability to have enough confidence in their competence to not feel the need to monopolize the conversation. Here's what happens. When you and when we start getting better at recognizing opportunities to ask questions, no longer are you and I going to feel all that pressure that comes with trying to be interesting, trying to make somebody be interested. What we're going to be able to start doing at the end of this course is asking some questions to find out their reasons, because we know that people make decisions for their reasons. Not always the right reasons, and certainly never the salesperson's reasons. So you and I, our job is to find out who's already interested and then start asking questions to figure out why. That's really the idea, the thing that separates amateurs from professionals. Having enough confidence in your competence to take all the pressure off yourself. Don't worry about being interesting. Ask some questions and let them tell us why they would be interested. Here's what else comes. Bonding. Questions that they actually reveal some personal details about the other person, things that they're very, very interested in. See, when I start to tell you a story, I begin to feel like you get me, like you understand exactly where I'm coming from. When I tell you that story about where I go to buy the diesel fuel for my truck, I'm actually letting in on quite a lot of information, aren't I? I'm telling you that I have a large family. I'm telling you that I have a 12-year-old daughter. I'm telling you that her opinion matters to me very, very much. I'm telling you what kind of truck I have. I'm telling you how many gas stations in my area sell that particular brand of fuel. And as I start to share this with you, I start to feel like you understand where I'm coming from. And for no other reason than I just explained it to you. I told you all my reasons. I'm letting you in on a small piece of my world.